I know, right? I'm glowing. It's so bright. But you know what? It's freaking cold out, Muse. I don't know if your particular ilk are affected by the cold, but mine is. And thus, I am wearing this. So deal with it, okay? It's only for a few minutes. You can manage staring at my gaudy visage for a bit, right? Come on. It's just you and me anyway. It's not like it matters. Put your sunglasses on. Damn your eyes! Too late. Sorry, I don't know why. Hello, Muse. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I do have something to talk about. As per usual, I always seem to have something to talk about. There's also this oddly rhythmic humming noise coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's there. Can you hear it? It's probably outside. It's in the middle of December and there are people out using their leaf blowers and mowing their yards, and it's crazy. Up is down, down is up, cats and dogs living together, blah, blah, bitty, blah. I'm so stuffy, I think I'll have a scone. Okay, what is it that I want to talk about? So, Dead Twin Sister is for sale. Woo! Suicide Machine is in the hand of the beta readers. Woo! And I am now writing POTUS. POTUS! Oh, what a great time to be writing a book called POTUS. I must be mad. Yes, in fact, I am. So I started writing POTUS, and as you know, I've talked about this recently, I think last week, maybe, when I was writing it from the wrong perspective. Yes, I talked about that last week. Okay, so I'm about... Did I just slip into Canadian for a second there? Sorry, Muse, I didn't. I'm about 10,000 words into this story. And interestingly enough, at first, I found it really challenging to write. It wasn't coming out of my mind via my fingers. See that Band-Aid? Sorry, didn't want to distract you, but I might as well point it out because it's going to be there and you're going to see it every time I gesture. Every time I set about to write more, it seemed like it was a struggle, which is so unlike me. It's not a pat on the back. It's just the way it is. When I start to write a book, it just flows out of me like booze at a Catholic wedding. And so I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it didn't dawn on me until I think the day before yesterday when I sat down to continue the story. And I realized at that moment that I had cut way back on the cussing, the cursing, the epithets, the foul language, the four-letter words, the F-bombs. I had pulled back on that, and I had pulled back on the humor. And those that have read enough of my work understand that those things are kind of part of my shtick, especially the humor. And as soon as I realized that, I of course, I stepped back and I said, why is this happening? Why am I not writing to my strengths? Not that cussing is a strength of mine. It is. Ask anybody that knows me, and I guess you would say that it is. But why am I not writing to those strengths? And I realized that I knew from the very get-go that I was going to be submitting this particular book to agents with the hopes of getting it published through one of the big 6 publishers. And I think subconsciously my mind said, hold on a second now. Yes, you've got this style and this shtick, that you've been using for years now. And it's worked for you. It's worked well for those things that you've either published yourself or published through a small publisher. But will it work to catch the attention of an agent or a big publisher? I don't know. And so I think subconsciously, I just pulled those things back. I said, let's just dial those things down a bit. And so we don't scare off our targets. And because I did that, I was writing against my strengths, and it just wasn't coming out like it usually does. Now, of course, I believe in the understanding of that, I solved the problem, and I said, okay, well, we can't go cold turkey. So what we have to do is we have to find some sort of happy medium so that I'm happy, so that I'm satisfied, and so that any possible agents or publishers would be satisfied as well and wouldn't be turned off from the fact that there's an F-bomb on every page or every other paragraph, or everything is a pop culture reference or a humorous dig at something. So I started kind of weaving that back into the work just ever so slightly. And I realized that I could do it at that point, that the words started to flow out a little more naturally, and I wasn't struggling as much. So, I mean, I think the realization for me was kind of hard, because I've always been very adamant about writing in my voice, because I've spent so much time developing this voice, and why not use it, right? I mean, it's mine, it's my truth as an artist. Why not use it? And I've always felt like denying that truth would be akin to denying my craft and my art and artisanship. So I've always said, I will not compromise my style for anything. And so when I discovered that, I realized, am I compromising? Is this making a compromise that I have been so unwilling to do for so long? And I think it is, on some levels, a compromise, but at the same time, me finding a compromise between 0 and 60, those are just numbers I pulled out of my ass, finding that compromise allows me to make that compromise, because I'm now happy with it and they'll be happy with it. And yes, on all levels, I feel like one should be very choosy when one is willing to make the compromises for their art. It's kind of like the way everybody thought that in the mid to late 90s, U2 sold out. They had to make compromises in order to sell albums, because things change. And in this case, the thing that changed was me going, okay, I'm going to be trying to break through the gatekeepers to get this book published. I need to write it in such a way that the gatekeepers will be pleased with it. And even though compromise to me is a 4-letter word, there are ways in which we can compromise and still be happy. So at the same time, I am still writing the characters that I love, being true to them, writing a story that I find compelling, and yet all I'm having to do is tone down a couple of elements in my style in order to make it appealing to agents and publishers. I can do that. I'm okay with that. Because in the end, and the truth of the matter is, to be completely transparent, which I like to be, is that if agents and publishers don't like this book, then I can publish it on my own, and I'm still okay with it. Of course, if that happens, I'll probably make a few tweaks and such that it's the kind of an official sequel to Punk Ass Punk. Because, yeah, a character from Punk Ass Punk is starring in this book. I'll let you put that 2 and 2 together. Which character from Punk Ass Punk is worth dragging into a new book, minus his cohorts in crime, to enjoy a new story arc? Anyway, that's what I got, Muse. Compromise. I've made compromises. You've made compromises. We've all made compromises. We just have to make compromises that we're okay with, that settle well in our hearts and souls. Because if they don't, then they're going to bug us and we're going to have a hell of a time crafting works that are worth selling. Compromise. And I just realized that this has been in the shot the whole time, because I have a little monitor down here that I watch to make sure that I'm centered and focused and blah, blah, blah. But this is my water bottle, and the little nubbins right there has been in the screen the whole time. I hope you'll forgive me, because I'm not going to re-record this again, because I've done that too many times. Because there's a light up there that I should have turned off. I got to pay more attention to detail. The detail in this is that that water was delicious. Can water be delicious? I suppose if you're combing through a desert on a horse with no name, water would be quite delicious. Anyway, Muse, it has been fabulous. Me and you talking, chatting, shooting the shit, chewing the fat. That's all I got. I got to compromise somewhere, right? I got to shut up. Muse, you, my friend, are so damned awesome.